Hello and welcome to New Wave Therapy. I'm Bob Burdikin, and today we're once again joined by Dan Young of Country Doctor Nutritional Center in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And today we're going to start to discuss the Country Doctor herbal products. So, hello, Dan, and I want to thank you for making time for being here today.
Always a
Good.
pleasure to be a part of this. So thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you. It's awesome. Let's get right into it. But first, if you're a fan of the podcast, and if you haven't already done so, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the all important reminder bell. Anyway, okay, Dan. So, what product are you going to share with us today?
Well, you and I kind of discussed that it would be best to start out with the most important foundational kind of trio of products. Obviously, ICF1, ICF2, and Superfood. And we can give some really just very specific touch on the big benefits that these products provide in terms of staying with that tried and true approach, which is to cleanse and nourish. As long as we cleanse and nourish the body, we are positioning it to get the best results health-wise possible.
That's very, very true. So, which one are you going to show us first?
I thought we'd start with ICF1. This is one that a lot of our practitioners around the country have had experience with. Obviously, we've shared it with, literally over 1,000 clients internally in our clinic over the last 20 years. And this is a formula that actually gently yet effectively restores intestinal tract health. This is for folks who are struggling with long-term constipation, chronic congestion issues. Maybe they have slow healing, hormonal, immune system suppression concerns, maybe malabsorption, and they're not utilizing nutrition properly. ICF1 will, in fact, go in and reestablish normal function throughout the large and small intestine, but not just from the standpoint of making sure you're having 2 to 3 bowel movements every day, but it also creates an environment where true health and health restoration can take place.
Yeah. Well, actually, and that's, I don't know, can we get that in there? I'm having trouble here.
You want me to
Actually,
try mine?
I can't show it. There, you're better. Okay, you're better than I am. Okay. So, yeah. But yeah, that's, it's not that big a deal. Okay, as far as
Yeah.
size wise or anything like that either. So,
Yeah.
and so why has this product been so successful for you?
Most people are suffering, today's modern living is very convenient, but it's not healthy. What we see clinically is that people come to us with a myriad of toxicities, congestions, inflammations, mucosal buildup, and quite honestly have been misinformed and misguided about what is true, natural, normal bowel function. 2 to 3 bowel movements a day is actually very normal. It's not common, but it's very normal. And most people that I see today have, if they're lucky, they have 1 bowel movement a day. I have a lady I'm working with right now that if she's lucky to have a bowel movement a week. And this is very, very common to have these
Right.
types of setbacks. So ICF1 really promotes, it helps to relieve congestion. It actually provides the necessary nutrients, the food nutrients from an herbal source that restore, rebuild, and repair normal peristaltic action. So the person actually has a sensation that they feel like going again.
Well, is that something they have to do for the rest of their life, or it's just a short-term situation, or what?
Yeah, it's a great question. Long-term use of ICF1 has proven to be very beneficial for folks. Sometimes they'll start off at 1 with dinner and then maybe work up to 3 or 4 over time to get the desired effect. But then what happens is the longer they're on it, the less we see them needing. Now, it can take several healing cycles to reestablish healthy gut peristaltic action. But the long-term use, we have people that have been using it for several years and maybe 1 a day, or some people 1 every 2 or 3 days, just to promote a normal activity of the bowel and continue to provide the nutrition found in this formula for the intestinal tract performance.
Now, you mentioned the healing cycles, a number of healing cycles. What constitutes a healing cycle?
The healing cycle in the human body, and this has been observed by many natural practitioners, naturopaths, chiropractors, herbalists for several hundred years. And the healing cycle simply means that we are doing the right nutritional support for the right amount of time, which is minimum of 12 to 14 weeks. So from a time frame, 12 to 14 weeks is considered a healing cycle. And
Oh, okay. Okay.
most people will have to go through several of those healing cycles as they restore optimum health.
Oh, okay. That answers a lot of questions, I'm sure, for a lot of people. And I understand there's what, an ICF number two as well?
Correct. ICF2 is one of those nutrients that we have found that in conjunction with, not separate from, but in conjunction with ICF1, once a person has really achieved good bowel health and activity, and they're having that 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, then in conjunction with ICF1, we factor in ICF2, which is this formula here.
Okay.
And
Is that a capsule or what?
this is actually the powdered version. I prefer the powdered version. For convenience, there is an encapsulated version of this that we manufactured. But I think from the standpoint of effectiveness, I feel that the ICF2 powdered version is probably a little more effective.
Okay.
And what that does is it goes through and it pulls out false encasements, mucosal linings, helps to soothe and help promote repair. And because it's an adsorbent, meaning that as it travels through that 26-foot of piping, it draws to it for the elimination of potentially built up toxins, whether it be from environment, from wear, water, and food, and also from even medications, though deposits or residues that are left behind from these types of things. So,
Okay. So those two work together, in essence, to clean your whole colon or digestive system. Is that correct?
yeah, they're synergistic. So this one's first, 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, then factor this together through the rest of the process, and it will definitely deliver the type of results that people are looking for.
So if someone gets on that or that program, what's it really going to do for them in the long run?
Here's what we've seen. We've seen anything, and these are symptoms, by the way. These aren't illnesses. But from our perspective, okay, the alleviation of headaches, skin issues, eye concerns, teeth and nasal problems, breathing issues, metabolic dysfunction, immune system support, hormone balancing, weight management. We have seen literally across the board a plethora of improvements based on this one approach that people can use and use safely and effectively.
So what I'm getting out of this is basically what you've just said is that people who really get into the program and use it correctly, actually, there may be a lot of things that they don't even know they've had problems with, will actually make them feel so much better, make them feel younger, give them more energy,
Yes.
just really make their whole life not so miserable.
Every single system in the human body must have the ability to cleanse and nourish itself. Every cell, the brain, the ears, the taste buds, the tongue, muscle groups, everything has to have the ability to cleanse and nourish. And nothing is the best catalyst to start that process effectively than ICF1 and 2. And sometimes people have to do it 2 or 3 times, back-to-back cleansing, not just once a quarter during the seasonal changes, but actually 2 or 3 times their first time through. They may have to do that 2 or 3 times to really help purify and restore that gut health and that gut function.
All right. That sounds good. So, and then you also mentioned that about the superfood. What exactly is a superfood?
You know, history's filled with an amazing abundance of foods that are classified as superfoods. I mean, the cod liver oil in the literature is classified as a superfood because of its vitamin A and D qualities. So when you talk about superfoods, we think primarily about super greens. So we think about chlorella, we think about dulse and kelp, we think about spirulina. These are the things that we think about, but also the natural organic sprouted grasses that contain, again, to use this word too much, plethora, amazing benefits with your vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, omegas, the enzymes, the B complex, all the things that are required for optimal function can be found in things like superfood. And so this is our product right here that we've been manufacturing for several decades now. And there's also some amazing benefits to this when it helps to cleanse some of these nutrients like spirulina and chlorella. actually will help additional detoxification of the body. So now you're getting kind of a two-process approach, because the superfood will provide that nutrition side, but also improves cleansing along with something like ICF 1 and 2.
Okay. So tell me, how does your superfood, which most people would look at just the green drink, okay, how does it compare to others that are on the marketplace?
To be honest with you, that's a great question that I have no answer to. We've used this one successfully for so many years and have rave reviews from clients all over the country on the effects, sometimes within 5 to 7 days of being on a couple of tablespoons of this a day, to as much as 3 months into the future, certain concerns and things that they were dealing with showed massive improvement, if not complete elimination. So I have no frame of reference other than to say that all I know is the people that use this particular product have had amazing, amazing results long term.
Well, that's great. Is that a product that you do at your own lab there, or what?
Thank you for asking. You know, the encapsulated and the powdered versions of our products, we actually have a third-party manufacturer. We're very pleased with them. They're only one of 3 manufacturers left in the country that does not work with synthetic or inorganic substances, meaning they're not, fulfilling contracts with pharmaceutical companies in their vats, making, Excedrin or whatever, and they turn around and fill that vat with superfood powder and start, putting it into bottles. They're only using and working with natural substances. So it's hard to find a manufacturer that doesn't try to cater to the other industries out there, but this one does, caters to our wellness industry.
You kind of answered this really one last big question I've got, but I've got to ask it anyway. So now, if I get on the protocol with the 1 and 2 and the superfood, what's it really, really going to do for me?
Well, anytime you cleanse and nourish the human body, you do it properly, and you do it consistently with effective, proven protocols, your health can do only one thing: improve.
That's great.
Now, will it improve 20% or will it improve 80%? That's between the person and their consistency and some other factors like diet, lifestyle, stress reduction, sleep habits, hydration. So there's other elements that obviously affect this. But making this a part of a very simple yet effective approach, there's nothing out there that we found clinically that will outperform cleansing and nourishing with ICF 1 and 2 and then the superfood.
Oh, that's really good. I think that pretty wraps it up for today as far as this podcast is concerned. And I want to thank people for listening, and the many thanks to you, Dan, for taking the time to be here today. And I know that the information you've shared here today will greatly help many of our listeners. And lastly, I want to remind everyone that we post a new podcast every Monday. And next week, we're going to be discussing liver and gallbladder products that actually work with that specific area within the body. And that will allow us to continue the process of bringing you the best kept secrets and supplements. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here, and good health to you.